Hello, my name is John Boersig. I'm the CEO of Legal Aid ACT here in Canberra, Australia. I'm here to talk to you about a new initiative involving young people and the law and education. As you know, young people represent some of the most vulnerable individuals within the community and experience a range of complex issues, often without sufficient knowledge to access the justice system. Barriers to justice are compounded for young people as they have limited autonomy and rely heavily on their parents or other adults, or more problematically, their peers and siblings. The complexity of the justice system is alienating for many young people, subsequently unaware of their rights and the manner in which they may be enforced. Even where they have sufficient knowledge of the justice system, it may continue to intimidate to the extent that young people refrain from making complaints or seeking redress for fear of repercussions. The concept of access to justice for young people is intrinsically linked to the empowerment of these individuals. This is why they must have access to information about their rights and the appropriate methods for protecting those rights. Whilst improving knowledge amongst young people is of primary importance, information should also be available to parents, teachers, and others working with and for children. As such, the availability of legal assistance services, increased awareness of their rights, and the role of the justice system in protecting those rights should be used to empower young people to overcome these barriers. I have been struggling with how to achieve this goal throughout my whole work career and employed various strategies with mixed success. It is in this context that the college's Legal Liaison Initiative was formulated. Well, what kind of service is being provided? The service run by Legal Aid ACT in Canberra is a justice education partnership operating in the 9 government-funded public colleges across the Australian Capital Territory. These colleges provide education for students in the last 3 years of high schools and are physically separate from students in earlier years of study. By embedding lawyers in the familiar environment of a college, we have sought to increase the likelihood that students, parents, and other relevant adults, including teachers, more readily access legal assistance. The service involves the fortnightly deployment of a practicing lawyer, known as a legal liaison officer, to the colleges. This initiative has been structurally linked to our Youth Law Centre, a long-established focus of Legal Aid ACT. Since September 2020, when the service began, Legal Aid has deployed 3 solicitors on a part-time basis to act as legal liaison officers in the colleges. These officers attend the college campus from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on their designated day, offering services to all students aged 16 to 19, their families and college staff. When on site at a college campus, the officers is available to speak with students by appointment, by referral, or on a walk-in basis. The officer is also available to the families of students by appointment. Having access to one of our offices on campus means that people are able to obtain free, confidential legal advice within a familiar and safe environment. Students who have engaged the services are provided with the officer's email address to facilitate ongoing legal assistance outside of the schooling context. If a student contacts an officer outside the school, that officer may attend the school again, provide assistance over the phone, or arrange for an appointment for the student when next on campus. It will depend on the urgency or the immediacy of the issue. Well, what are our legal issues we're seeing, and what are these early statistics? The service provides legal assistance across a wide array of legal issues. The primary areas of inquiry include family and domestic violence, sexual assault and victims of crime, employment law, young people's rights in relation to leaving home, obtaining medical records, etc., and personal protection, bullying and harassment. Not surprising, really. The service commenced on the 1st of September 2020, as I said. Since then, to May 21, the service has provided to a total of 192 individuals with assistance, with over 50% of those involving a family violence indicator. During this period, the officers have also conducted a number of community legal education sessions to ensure students are aware of their legal rights and aid their identification of these issues, and as a way of getting into the classrooms so they can see what kind of services we provide. In fact, in the first 2 months of the services, we provided CLE to over 500 students in 23 sessions. I would like to illustrate the effectiveness of the service through a selection of case studies. The positive relationship between the college staff and the legal liaison officers has been invaluable. Given the rapport with college staff, students will often initially disclose their legal issue to teachers, who are then able to refer them to the legal liaison officer. As such, the presence of these officers within the college context is largely dependent on the willingness of teachers and other staff to embrace and utilise our services. So there are 3 case studies. The first is this. One student who engaged the legal liaison officer on campus was referred to the service after confiding in a teacher that her parents had demanded she return home so they could leave Australia. Whilst off campus, the legal liaison officer was able to provide urgent migration advice with the assistance of our own migration agent here at Legal Aid ACT. A community liaison officer was also involved to provide assistance in safety, planning and connecting the student with vital support services outside the family. The ongoing presence of the legal liaison officer on campus meant that this student had access to legal assistance in the event that her circumstances escalated once more. The second case study. An 18-year-old male presented to the legal liaison officer after being referred to the college's wellbeing team. Given their age, this individual was primarily concerned with the prospect of moving out of home and any legal consequences he should be aware of. During that contact, the legal liaison officer identified family violence indicators, such as emotional, physical and economic abuse, and therefore raised the possibility of applying for a family violence order for their protection. The student appreciated this information, but ultimately determined that moving out of home was his primary objective. Therefore, the legal liaison officer primarily provided non-legal support, for example, writing a letter outlining the client's circumstances for the purposes of a social service application. The student indicated that he would return to the legal liaison officer for further advice once he had received his lease agreement where he was going to then reside. The final case study. With the support of their college youth worker, a student presented to the legal liaison officer prior to appearing in the children's court for a number of criminal charges. The student was distressed, armed with little knowledge as to what legal supports were available. The legal liaison officer gave the student primarily advice in relation to court procedures and arranged duty legal representation from Legal Aid ACT's criminal practice lawyers who would be at court for them. The legal liaison officer also assisted the student in applying for a grant of aid to ensure they received ongoing legal assistance from the criminal legal practice. I think these case studies underline the value of the legal liaison officer's presence on campus and the ongoing support which is being provided to young people. Of course, Legal Aid AC is not the only service being provided like this around Australia, and in particular, New South Wales and Victoria have similar programs. The 2 programs in New South Wales are the Mid-North Coast Community Legal Centre, which deploys a lawyer once monthly to the Macleay Valley Workplace Learning Centre to provide legal assistance and facilitate education sessions. This program places lawyers in the school catering to the needs of young people who are disengaged from the education system. Legal Aid New South Wales also offers a broad-ranging children's legal service, catering specifically to children and young people under the age of 18, navigating the criminal justice system and providing free legal education sessions for schools across the state of New South Wales. As I indicated, Victoria has 2 programs. In 2015, the West Justice launched the School Lawyer Project, placing a solicitor full-time at the Grange College in Melbourne's outer suburbs. Like our service, the on-site lawyer provides service to students and their parents. However, the primary focus of the on-site lawyer is to provide legal advice and actual legal representation to approximately 1,600 students from a diverse range of cultural and socio-economic backgrounds. By offering early intervention and prevention, the program aims to increase students' legal knowledge and subsequently decrease their interaction with the justice system. Anecdotally, evidence has demonstrated that this early intervention in relation to contemporary issues such as sexting has reduced the students' involvement in such behaviour. The lawyer often hears legal issues relating to public transport fines, criminal matters, family violence and tenancy-related matters, and also conducts legal education sessions in the class. Victoria Legal Aid has a similar program, placing a lawyer once a week at a secondary college in Geelong, and that's been piloted since 2016. The on-site lawyer provides assistance to students enrolled in the school, as well as their parents. On-site lawyers have stated that the familiar environment of the student's school ensures that legal assistance is easy to access and reduces any potential stress or anxiety encountered when accessing these services. Matters encountered include family violence, employment issues, and criminal offences. So what can we conclude? The experience of other programs around Australia echoes what is being achieved in the ACT. Although in its early stages of development, Legal Aid ACT's Colleges Legal Liaison Initiative has been very successful in increasing knowledge of the justice system through education sessions and providing immediate access to legal assistance services for young people, their parents, and other relevant people in the context of the schooling environment. In doing so, Legal Aid ACT has been able to mitigate a number of the barriers to justice encountered by young people and empower them to access the justice system in circumstances where they would not normally gain access. The key to our success is immediate availability of lawyers to students at the colleges. And our experience indicates that the service has a growing cohort of clients. Indeed, there are 6,000 students in colleges across the Australian Capital Territory. Currently, it would seem that the impact of the services is only limited by the frequency of lawyer visits and their presence at the colleges. Perhaps the future of the College Legal Liaison Initiative could see an increase in the frequency of our presence in all of these schools, both public and private, extending perhaps to lower levels of the high school and potentially even primary schools. Thank you for the opportunity to address you on this topic. It's an important and successful initiative.